Hello friends, my name is Angela and welcome back to my channel. It is December and today we are doing the end of year book tag. I've got the questions and I'm going to kind of go off the cuff. I am very unprepared that I do not know who originated this tag, so I will leave that information below in the description. I've also been relegated to a different room in the house. This is the guest room that we've been doing up, and I know a few of you were interested to see how it was going to come along. We're almost there. I really like it, and the thing is that it is a great room for light in this house. It is really, really good. So I don't know, maybe I'll be in here a bit more filming, but I've been relegated here because my husband is doing some odd jobs around the house in preparation for Christmas, and I'm not about to ask him to stop any of that. So I'm in here where it is a little bit quieter at the back end of our home. We're going to get into this tag video. So the first question is, are there any books I started this year that I want to finish before the end of the year? And the answer is yes, absolutely. I want to end the year having finished my current reads. I really don't want to carry over any books that I have started before December this year. This is just so I can start the new year afresh. I am such a big believer in starting with a blank slate, and January 1st is really that blank slate that I love. And it's kind of made me think about that question of what makes a book a DNF, and especially when there's a book that you are enjoying but maybe it's just not the right book at the right time. I'm going through that process at the moment, and I'll share that with you next week as I go through my current reads and try and smash that so I can end the new year with a clean slate. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? This is a little bit tricky because I'm transitioning into summer. I transitioned into spring and into summer, whereas a lot of you are transitioning into autumn, into winter. So I'm going to answer this question twofold. I'm going to answer it into coming into my season, but also coming into Christmas. So seasonally, yes, I do have a book that is going to transition me into summer, which I am very much looking forward to. Slow Days, Fast Company, The World, the Flesh, and LA by Eve Babitz. I have not read any Eve Babitz, and I have added some Eve Babitz and Joan Didion to my summer reading list. And this one sounds really like this is going to be hot and heavy and perfect summer reading. I think it's going to be really evocative of, like a Californian summer, very sexy, all that kind of stuff. No one burned hotter than Eve Babitz, possessing skin that radiated its own kind of moral laws, spectacular teeth, and a figure that was the stuff of legends. She seduced seemingly everyone who was anyone in Los Angeles for a long stretch of the 60s and 70s. One man proved elusive, however, so Babitz did what she did best. She wrote him a book. Slow Days, Fast Company is a full-fledged and full-bodied evocation of a bygone Southern California that far exceeds its mash note premise. In 10 sunbaked Santa Ana windswept sketches, Babitz recreates a Los Angeles of movie stars distraught over their success, socialites and 3-day drug bingers holed up in the Chateau Marmont, soap opera actors worry that tomorrow's script will kill them off, Italian femme fatales even more fatal than Babitz. And she even leaves LA now and then, spending an afternoon at the house of flawless Orange County suburbanites, a day amongst the grape pickers of Central Valley, a weekend in Palm Springs where her dreams of romance fizzle and her only solace is Virginia Woolf. In the end, it doesn't matter if Babitz ever gets the guy, she seduces us. This just sounds like a wild ride, but it's going to be hot and heavy and steamy and exactly what I want to come into summer with. So this is going to be like a poolside read, one of those days where it's a hot morning, I'm not going to want to do anything. And this is the one I'm going to be picking up most definitely as I transition into a really, really warm summer. It's a very short book. It's 160 pages. In terms of some Christmas books, I do have a few that I would like to have ready to go. With my current reads project, really trying to get them done, I'm trying not to pick up any new books. So I really want to get those done before I pick up a new book, but I do have some Christmassy ones ready to go. And one of those is The Christmas Card Crime and Other Stories. And this is from the British Library Crime Classics. I found this in a secondhand bookstore. And so that is something that I would really love to read in the lead up to Christmas. Another one that I would like to maybe get get to, if I am a good girl and get through my current reads, is Date with Malice from Juhea Chapman, which is the second book in the Dale's Detective series. I read the first one a few months ago and I really enjoyed it. And there are a number of books in this series. This one is set at Christmas time or in the lead up to Christmas time. And I just think that even though we are in summer here, there is still that nostalgia. There are quiet nights in front of the Christmas tree, and it does lend itself to wanting to curl up with a book. A few of you, when I was doing my children's reading project, a number of you mentioned Brambley, Hedge, and when I was fitting out this room, which is where my grandkids are going to be sleeping the majority of the time, I decided to lash out, and I went and bought the illustrated Wind in the Willows book, and I also bought the complete Brambley Hedge book, which I think I'm probably going to be more excited than my grandkids about it. But there's some beautiful winter stories in here, and so I'm going to probably just sit down and pick those up here and there as well. And it's just these little childlike stories I think are really important to read in the lead up to Christmas. You know, children make Christmas so much more magical, and I think if you can read a few stories that are childlike, I think they really do add an element that can be missing at times. So that's something else that I really am looking forward to. And this is a beautifully illustrated book. Look at this glorious Christmas scene. It's wonderfully illustrated. And you know what's so funny is I just realized I've been having recurring dreams about mice. I don't know what that's about. Okay. Next question. Is there a new release you're waiting for? Yes, there are a few new releases. I know when I shared with you guys Dusk by Robbie Arnott, a number of you wanted to get hold of it, and you're in the States or in the Northern Hemisphere, North America, and you can't. And I empathize with you because it happens all the time here in Australia. Something comes out and it takes a year for it to come out in Australia. I get it. And that seems to be the case with a couple of books that are new releases, and I just have not been able to find them. So some of the books that I have been trying to find recently, one of them is called 3 Keys by Laura Pritchett, and I just cannot find it anywhere. And it seems to be a book that is in this similar vein of a mid-40s woman just going rogue and, you know, just like throwing it all to the wind and just going off on her own. And I really, really want to find that book. It was released in July 2024 and I just cannot find it on the bookshelf here. I'm on a mission to find that one. The summary of the story is: Annalise Dano has just lost the 3 keys of her life's purpose: her husband, her job, and her mumming role. She's also mystified to find herself in middle-aged. How exactly had that happened? The idea of becoming irrelevant, invisible, of letting her life vaguely slip away. Well, the terror of that has her driving through Nebraska with a fork in her hair. What she does have is this: 3 literal keys to empty homes she plans on breaking into. She embarks on an international and increasingly problematic journey as she seeks to find a life truly of her own. And that middle-aged business, as someone breaking the law, she finds there's a real benefit to being invisible, which she uses to her advantage as necessary, until she becomes the striking, bold, and very much manifested self she wants to be. Laura Pritchett's 7th novel is a delightful exploration of the very serious business of living a full and honest life. Filled with heartbreak and humour, she tackles the unavoidable sorrows and joys of coming of age again with the zest and vigour it deserves. Sounds wonderful. And I keep hearing about All Fours and these kind of books, but I haven't heard much about 3 Keys being talked about, but it sounds really fun. I want to find that, but it's been out for 6 months and I cannot find it anywhere. Another one that I think may come out in January in Australia, if not late December, is City of Nightbirds by Juhea, I think is how you pronounce the name. And this one sounds riveting. It's set, I think, in a Russian ballet. It was something that I was really interested in getting hold of, but then I saw that Reese's Book Club has just picked it, so that kind of turned me off a little bit. I've not had great luck with Reese's Book Club picks. There's only been a handful of books that have really been great. I found that they've been kind of same. Anyway, it sounds very interesting. On a white night in 2019, prima ballerina Natalia Lenova returns to St. Petersburg 2 years after a devastating accident stalls her career. Once the most celebrated dancer of her generation, she now turns to pills and alcohol to numb the pain of her past. She is unmoored in her old city as the ghosts of her former life begin to resurface. Her loving but difficult mother, her absentee father, and the two gifted dancers who led to her downfall. One of these dancers, Alexander, is the love of her life, who transformed both Natalia and her art. The other is Dmitri, a dark and treacherous genius. When the latter offers her a chance to return to the stage in her signature role, Natalia must decide whether she can again face the people responsible for both her soaring highs and her darkest hours. Painting a vivid portrait of the Russian ballet world where cutthroat ambition, ever-shifting politics, and sublime artistry collide, City of Nightbirds unveils the making of a dancer with both profound intimacy and breathtaking scope. Mysterious and alluring, passionate and virtuosic, Juhea Kim's second novel is an affecting meditation on love, forgiveness, and the making of an artist in a turbulent world. So those are definitely two new releases that I would love to get my hands on. I don't know if I'll be able to find them. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, I've just given you a bunch of books, but then they're just books that I would like to read. I don't think there are any real books that I'm like, I have to read this. There was a couple that I read in November that were those books, like James was one of those books, Stoneyard Devotional was one of those books. So what it led me to, though, was having a look back through some of my haul videos and some of my videos at the start of the year to see the books and the goals that I had at that point that I wanted to read and the reasons why I wanted to read them. I was really surprised to see that from my first haul video, which was a little obscene, I think I had 14, 15 books in there. I've read 8 of those 14 books, which I was really happy with because I kept feeling like I was just buying. But I'm really glad that I have read some of those books. So I thought maybe I would just try and read a couple more from those early lists that I was putting together. But in all honesty, who am I kidding? I'm going to probably be reading based on my mood for the rest of this month. So I think, in all honesty, one book I would really love to read is Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. That has made its way further up my TBR after I shared with you guys about the people of the book in my video 5 historical books you may not have heard about. A lot of people really recommended Year of Wonders. Another one I think I really do want to get to is Miles Franklin's My Brilliant Career. I recently saw someone read this and they said that they loved it and they kicked themselves for waiting so long to read it. So I think I really want to maybe get to this. It's a book that is a very thinly disguised autobiographical novel. She's gone on to have such a huge legacy in the literary world. The Stella Prize is one of her legacies. The Miles Franklin Award is her legacy. There are so many things. She's left a major imprint in the literary world in Australia, and I want to understand why. That is maybe something that I would like to shuffle to the top to maybe try and read before the end of the year. But instead of just saying what I want to read before the end of the year, I'm really starting to think more about what I want to read over the Christmas New Year period. We have our holidays generally fall over that Christmas New Year period, so I'll have a 2 to 2.5 week period off my work over that time. So that's our major some holidays. So I'm thinking about what kind of books I want to read over that period, and it's going to be very mood based, but also what are the peak summer books that I want to read. Those are the sort of things I'm thinking of. Not so much what book do I have to get to before the end of 2024. Is there a book that could still shock you and become the favorite of the year? I don't know. I've read some great books, like some really, really good books this year. And to be honest, it's going to be hard to pick a favorite out of that. There is one book that I have been hesitating buying because I want to go and join the library because I need to find another way to consume books rather than just buying books, because I'm buying books and sometimes they're not a fit for me and then it's a waste of money. So I want to go to the library, but I'm not an active library member. Anyway, there is a book that just came out in the last couple of months called Australian Gospel, and it sounds riveting. I really, really want to get hold of that one. And I think if I was to read that could potentially take out the top book of the year. But I'm not going to try and do that because I've got so many other books on the go that I'm not going to try and race through another book. Australian Gospel sounds very fascinating, and when I get to it, I'll share more about it. I don't know, maybe if I read Miles Franklin's My Brilliant Career, that might come to the top, but to be honest, I have not even stopped to think about what could be my favourite book of the year so far, so they're all so good. It's been a good year. Have you already started making reading plans for 2025? Yes, of course. Of course I have. I have learned so much about myself over 2024, and a large part of that is because of this channel. Because I have forced myself to talk about books, to read the books, to get out there and really analyze my likes and dislikes, and it's been such an incredible experience, and I think there have been so many benefits to having this channel this year. When I started this channel at the start of 2024, I was really in the depths of something not so great. I was going through a lot of health issues. My father was going through health issues. I don't know why I started it. Like, I think I needed a creative outlet. And to be honest, this YouTube channel has been quite a saving grace for me because it has given me an anchor every single week to come back to and to keep myself on track with a hobby that I love. Whereas if I hadn't had this channel, I probably would have stopped reading and I probably would have just gone down into passive hobbies of TV and just consuming things like that. This channel and you guys have just been a saving grace for me this year, and I am so grateful, and I thank you for it. Perhaps the biggest lesson I learned this year is that I need to be less rigid with reading plans. I love making plans, I love making lists and having that sort of structure, but I just don't follow them very well. Try not to set myself up for failure quite so much. Other than that planning process being a little less rigid, I've learned that I just have to do the reading. In terms of my reading goals, there is nothing better than just doing the reading. You can, do all the research and watch all the YouTube videos of other people reading and their plans, and you can make all the lists, but you just have to do it. And I think that's the lesson I'm taking away from it. That said, I do have some reading goals. There are some classics I want to get to. I think for sure the 3 that I can think of right now would be Anna Karenina, The Hobbit, and The Odyssey. I think for sure those 3. And in terms of like keeping that structure quite light, I may only add another 1 or 2 to that list of classics. Whereas me in 2024, I think I probably made a list of like 10 books that I wanted to get to in terms of classics. I'm just being a little more gentle with myself that way. And when it comes to these backlisted books, which I do want to continue reading backlisted books, but also make room for new releases, which I found this year I wanted to read more new releases than in the past. With the backlisted books, I'm trying to be a little more flexible in, if I'm not enjoying it, just put it down. I think my overarching goal for the new year is just to become a well-read person. I want to be well-read and well-educated. I want to be able to hold my own in a conversation. I want to be someone that other people gravitate towards for good conversation. I want to be empathetic and I want to be kind and I want to be a good person overall. And I think reading helps you become all those things. It's not that I want to be able to prattle off quotes from books, but I want all these books and all these life experiences that I'm getting from books to become part of my world and part of my life, and therefore become part of my own narrative. And I know this means variety. It means that I need to add more variety to what I read, and I get that. And so that's something I'm looking towards. But it also means reading for pleasure. I have to look at what I've been enjoying and what is really pushing the boundaries, what is really stretching those pathways in my mind. Like when I read The Well-Gardened Mind, I feel like that really stretched me as a person. So those are the sort of things that I'm thinking about. But I'm also aware that I'm only one person. I have one brain. I have two pairs of eyes. I have one pair of eyes. And I can only read so many books. And so I need to start to be okay with that. and I need to just relax a little bit, because this is not a race. Life is not a race. Reading books is not a race. And I really want to take that approach with reading, that I will never be able to read all the books that I want to read in my lifetime, and I need to be okay with that. So I just need to be okay with that the book that I'm reading today is the book that I'm reading today, and hopefully I get to pick up a book tomorrow. And I think that's something that I just need to be okay with, and not regret the books that I haven't yet even tried to read, So that's kind of where my mind is. I just need to live in the moment and just kind of go with the flow. As for this channel, like I said, you guys have been wonderful. I've really enjoyed being here every week. Somehow I managed to show up here every single week since January, even though I had a surgery. My father passed away, and I've managed to show up here every single week. And it was such a great thing for me to do, in all honesty. It wasn't a chore. It was a good thing for me to show up every single week and do that. But I am doing this for fun. I am trying not to get caught up in the weeds. I'm not doing this as a, full-time YouTuber. And remember that this is for my own personal growth, and because I want to talk about books, and I love sharing with you and talking with you and just communicating with you guys all about this. It's a lot of fun. But like I said, because Christmas and New Year is our summer holidays, I think I'm probably going to take a few weeks off from posting. And that'll probably be the week of Christmas. I won't post anything, and then I'll probably post again in early January or mid-January. So I think it might be maybe 3 weeks I might take off. If I come back earlier, so be it. I just want to give myself that space to be able to relax and read, enjoy the summer holidays. And I will come back with a huge, huge stack of book recommendations, hopefully, of all the books I've been reading. And I do know that, like in most creative outlets, you do need to give yourself space to be able to find new ways to do things. And I think that's important. So it's not that I probably film over that period or come up with ideas, but I just want to give myself that space to not have to post and not have to stick to a schedule. So I'll take a little bit of time off, but I'll share those dates with you so you know what's going on. And I hope that's okay with you guys, because it's a little bit nerve-wracking after sticking with a schedule for, 45 weeks or something so far. But I still have a couple of videos to come before Christmas, and I'll be here next week with a vlog, which you guys wanted some summer content, and that is coming. I am sharing some summer content next week. I hope you enjoyed this little video, this little bit of a book tag. I didn't feel like it was very specific, but I feel like that's kind of where I am. It's been a long year. I've read a lot of books, and I'm looking forward to sharing like a bit of a wrap up in January. I think that's where my interest would be, is sharing a wrap up of the year, and like where my top books were and what my feelings were over the year in total. So I'm looking forward to doing that in January, and then just starting the year afresh. So excited about that. There's nothing better than a fresh new year. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, a wonderful weekend of lovely reading, lovely books. I would love to hear from you if you have a particular book that you are reading for this Christmas ahead, because I would love a Christmas recommendation. I have read Christmas Carol. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan is one of my favorite books to read around Christmas time. Is there a particular book that you always come back to, or something that you are looking forward to reading at this particular Christmas time? I would love to hear that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye.